Okay, hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome to you. Welcome to this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, the 23rd of February, 2021. And we call today the moment where we start to ease the lockdown. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the late one. Thank you for those coming on Instagram, those on Facebook, and those on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much. Remember to like and share. Remember to tell your friends that the greatest show on earth, this is the greatest show on earth, is about to start. And of course, the most important thing is that I'll have my key guy, Coach Chris Brown. And of course, any phone calls coming in at this time, you got to freeze those phone calls. No phone calls at this time as we rock and roll. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, before I go any further, we have had a very good run of the show series, the lockdown series for the past. Well, actually, Coach Chris Brown and we have been doing this from the early lockdown, which was sometime in last year, April, when we actually started. And from the challenge of the walk and talk up to now, and then for the past 6 weeks, 7 weeks, we have been doing these series of shows about lockdown series. The first one was staying focused during lockdown. Second one was creating opportunities in lockdown. The third one was confidence building in lockdown. And fourth one was there's more to you than just your job role. And then do you feel stuck in this lockdown? And we went further by talking hidden positives in lockdown, which was series part 6. But the Prime Minister of recent days, yesterday, made an announcement, and this announcement was crucial, that many people have been waiting to hear. And what he said is we're going to start easing the lockdown. And we're talking about from March 8th, you're going to see the process of where schools are coming back, and you can ease the process to get back to some level of normality. But the big question that we're going to talk about tonight, and which I want you to also have some level of interaction, is: are you getting ready to leave lockdown? Are you getting ready to take that plane? Many people have been booking plane. But before I go any further, let me bring in Coach Chris Brown, my resident host, guest, key geezer. How are you?
I'm doing great. Silverwood, how you doing?
I'm good. The sun was shining today, Coach, and with the sun shining, I put a post up there. There's a sense, the atmosphere of optimism. I'm a serial optimistic. Like people who are serial entrepreneurs, serial killers, or whatever like that. Sorry, serial killer. But I'm a serial optimistic person, just like you are. And when I saw the sunshine, I say there's an atmosphere of something is happening. And it's the reason why we have the topic today. Are you getting ready for lockdown?
Oh yes. I mean, when you talk about optimism, you're right. There's a buzz in the air because people are being kind of set free. Like the animals around a certain time when they go and hibernate, then all of a sudden spring starts breaking out. They start jumping around, new ones coming around. We're kind of having that affect ourselves in that way. There's a lot of people coming out even before it's been completely said lockdown is over, right? Which says quite a lot in itself, doesn't it?
Yes.
What do you reckon?
Yes. It does, because we've been in this for a while, and many people have been saying they can't wait to get out of this thing, and many people are now concerned or worried about actually getting out, because this is somewhat like, as we can deem, an uncomfortable comfort zone. They don't want to be in there, but they have become used to it. People have become used to the furlough and used to all this, what is happening now. And there's a challenge now where even the travel agencies are saying that they're getting lots of bookings, but people are not paying. People are now, what should I do? People are going back to work. There's a fear also, or there's a sense of people are going to want to go back to where they came from. And that's not there anymore, how things were be.
That's a big fear. I mean, you think about it, you've been restricted. Let's even jump back to what we said when we did the last show, and we talked about a habit takes 3 weeks to make and 3 weeks to break, which we mentioned every week. If you've been in this lockdown all this time, if you have been in this lockdown, you get what I mean, right? If you've been in this lockdown, all of a sudden it's been removed. You're getting into as you said, uncomfortable zone, right?
Yes.
You're breaking it now. You know, you're stepping outside of the box. So it may seem like great at the same time, but let's put it this way. You're not going to come out the way you went in. You're going to be different. And some people are fearful of that. Like, what's going to happen now? You know,
Yes.
you kind of wanted to break free, and all of a sudden go, here you are. And you think, what's going to happen now? What are we going to do? You know, what happened the way it was before? You know, a lot of things like that. And you got to think about it in a way as well. You know, we were talking about the whole thing of getting away, wasn't we? Remember earlier on, we was talking about getting away?
Yes.
And we were saying about the whole idea. And I put this question out to everybody. Imagine this, right? You're about to travel.
Yeah.
You're about to travel. Let's say, what three things or what important things, not even three, don't have to limit it. What things would you take with you? You know, what would you take with you? What would you pack?
Jamaica. Yeah. You're taking me there. I haven't seen my mother for a few years now, and I miss the beach. And if I'm to go to Jamaica, what I'm going to do is make sure I get my suitcase, pack it, children and the family,
right,
and get the thing which are very important. You're not even going to think about. For me personally, I'm not going to think about bringing things for persons. Just getting out there as soon as possible. Yeah. But the most important thing is that you take things which are necessary. Sometimes you got to decide on not to take in things that you want, but what is necessary. And sometimes this is a key thing. When you actually put on the suitcase on that scale, you have now got to decide and say, oh my days, it is 10 pounds over, is that 50 pounds? What should I do? You make some radical decision to say that, no, this can't come. You just throw it in. That can't make it. You make some what should I say? Cutthroat decisions.
You do. You know, and even in making those cutthroat decisions, let's talk about parallel of that. Okay, me? I'd like to travel to, let me say, you said Jamaica, I'll say Maracas Bay, right? Yeah. I love Maracas.
Where is that?
Maracas Bay is? That's in Trinidad, right? It's in Trinidad. One of the most beautiful beaches that you can touch to, Maracas Bay. But listen, you know what? Packing that bag, you just said it in itself. Let's kind of transfer that to this whole idea of lockdown, right? We're going to move into another area and another era as well, I'll say, in that sense. And there are some things that we want to take with us, what was with us before the lockdown.
Yes.
And this is going to cause too much weight. Things of the past. It's going to be a change. Things are going to be different ways of doing things at the end of the day. And you've got to unload some of that luggage, as you said. You just got to discard some of it. And some of the things are things of the past already. We're doing things in a new way, in a different way. Now, some might fight to say, well, it was great the way it was before. But, you know, sometimes we have to have a reality check with ourselves and realize that is true. It was great at the time. But you know something? That's not happening now. And this is a coping mechanism inside of us, how to cope with this change as well at the same time. Because that's where the fear is coming from.
Is it can it be classified like there's going to be a process of like a withdrawal syndrome at the same time? But what I'm saying that actually people have been living in that zone already. So I think the withdrawal syndrome is going back to work and going to these places because they're so used to being at home. They're used to being locked up. They're used to being isolated. They're used to being like today. Okay, you're walking on the road normally, and you know I do my walk and talk in the morning. You're normally used to people going across the road, or even if I'm walking there, you give them that space. But the other day, a lady crossed the road from me, and I felt funny. Even I know why she did it, because that's what we do. We don't go straight to straight. We give each other that space. But I felt a bit funny, actually, I must say. You know, so
did you feel offended?
Deal with that.
Did you feel offended by her? Did she enter your space now? Because now everybody's going to be entering into each other's space.
No, I felt offended. No, I felt offended that she left my space.
Oh, that she left your space.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I felt offended that the person actually walked away. You know, came out of the way, which I knew that is what we should do. But you know,
right.
And that is when the subconscious didn't pick up. You know, it's going about your business, and somebody just like, you know, did I smell? You know, is it because I'm black? You know what I mean, or something like that.
Well, the thing about it, you know what it's going to be about? It's all about going to be about readjusting to a different way of life. That's what it's about. And this whole thing, like you just said, you felt offended that you went out of your space. But think about this. Somebody said lockdown's over, right?
Yes.
So, okay. Does that mean that everything else that is going on within the lockdown is over? The virus, everything else that's going on. You see, now we might just run out there because somebody said, oh, it's all over, but we don't want to go back into another lockdown, another situation.
Yes.
So we still have to be vigilant in the way we do things. But in saying that, there's the other side to it as well. There are some who's going to go out there and say, wait, it's over. It doesn't matter no more. Hey, how you doing? You know?
Yes.
And there's some who's going to be going like this all the time. Don't touch me. So there's going to be a bit of a readjusting to the situation. And like you said, offended. Some people can be offended, you know, in some sort of way. And it can cause a lot of friction at the same time. So it's readjusting mentally to what's really happening now.
That's interesting that you talk about. So the first thing that you're talking about is that there's got to be a readjustment, and that readjustment, of course, starts with the mind, isn't it? Getting that mindset ready. How do we get ready? And I think we put that out as well, ladies and gentlemen, for those watching. How will you get ready to get out of lockdown as the UK is getting in that stage? Scotland is talking about that. Everybody's getting ready to get out of the lockdown. How will you get ready to get out of lockdown? How are you getting ready? Let's put that question out there while we continue. And also the other question that Coach Chris Brown had asked: what are the 3 things that you would pack if you're traveling? Isn't it? Is that if you're traveling?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Priorities.
The 3 essential things that you pack when traveling, you know, because you could tell a lot about a person in that way. What's really and truly, if I put it another way, it's about value. Back to the whole thing of value and what's important to you. Yeah. Because we go through life as well, and we collect things along the way. We collect memories, we collect situations, we collect a lot of things. And some of them we do not need anymore. But because we're hanging on to them, it's like that luggage that you said, that you're traveling with it. And some things you need to discard, get rid of, to actually be in the present and enjoy the future as well. Well, enjoy the present and build the future, I should say, instead.
Yes.
You know, so you get to that point of unloading that luggage. But let's see what sort of things people find important to actually bring along.
And so therefore, so what would you say then is the first thing? I think you mentioned readjustment now. How do we go about that readjustment, realigning the mindset, if anything?
Readjustment takes a matter of, it's similar to, I say, letting go of some things.
Yes.
Recognizing, being aware of where you fit into the picture in this time as well. It's not about just readjusting everything. Oh, this is going this way, so I've got to go that way, and this is going. No, it's about you yourself as well. Where is your center point? Where is your anchor, I'll say, and how do you fit into the picture?
Yes.
How can you actually affect a situation for the positive? How can you affect the situation environment around you to readjust and go back into it? You think about it, right? Simple things like I mentioned last time about how to change in your mindset and the down moods and all that. And I said about changing your room. Remember I said changing your room, change your environment, move the settee, move this, move that, kind of change things. Let's say we can't go out there and start moving things around, but we can realign ourselves with the things that we're supposed to be doing, which we weren't doing before. And if you could do that, you will find yourself much in a stronger position, a much happier person, and also more strength in achieving the things that you want to achieve because you're in line with what you're supposed to be doing. Whereas before, you probably wasn't. Yeah. And you'll find that many people at this time, they have realigned themselves within this period. I saw on the news the other day, this woman who was before, and she started off doing, what do you call it, foraging and picking up twigs and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And she started making time together and twisted and making artwork out of it. Now she's left what she was doing before, and she started this business in doing this artwork. Now she's realigned herself with what she's supposed to really be doing. And Imagine this. You get up on Monday morning. You get paid for something you enjoy doing.
Yes.
See, there are a lot of good things that's coming out of the lockdown now. But you've got to be in a place where you're not still in the past. I got to go back to what I was doing before.
Yes.
It's not going to work that way. You got to realign yourself and start readjusting and find out who you are.
So can we comfortably say that's a danger zone then? A danger zone of trying to go back to where we were coming from Pope 24th of March, before the 24th of March there.
Oh, so one big time. It is a danger zone, trying to go back to the way things were before. Now, imagine, you always use the phrase about the flow, but think about this. Everybody's going that way. Everybody's going with a change. And you're going, no, I want to stay where I was. I want to stay right here. This is what I'm and everything. You may stay right there, but let me tell you, everything's moving on. Time's changing. Even now, as we sit here, we sat here right now and just sat through the night. I know for a fact that hair starts growing here, right? Okay? Hair starts growing, right? So
you
that's
dream
a
a lot.
change, whether I like it or not.
And you dream a lot. You dream a lot at the same time about hair, yes.
Yeah?
You dream a
What's
lot.
That?
You dream a lot.
It's funny you should say that, because it's funny. I always realize in the summertime, that I might have to shave like twice for the day or something, or three times, that sort of thing, But even though we're jesting about that, that's just an analogy of like, if you stand still and you decided that you ain't going to do nothing, things are going to change around you, which force you to change. When you don't go with it, you're causing a bit of a disruption here, trying to hang on to the luggage from before, too much weight.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the readjustment, and you also said disruption, because a disruption is always something that, like when you have restructuring of organizations, and people sometimes do not like that, because like you're applying back for your same job, you're actually feeling like you're rejected. If I've been working here for so many years, why am I going back to? But it's a restructuring, a realigning. And I think that is also very important, which people can be very resistant to. And at this time now, going into the new phase, I must commend the Prime Minister, even though there are questions about some of aspects of how the thing is, but he has been really upbeat, very optimistic at the same time. At this time, which I believe is good. You need a leadership at this time that can give that sense of positive energy at this time to help people to go through this readjusting, this realignment.
Yes, you do need that positive energy, and you got to think about somebody who's in a position. Can I just say the thing? Because we've got somebody who see all the time. Hi there, Lorna.
Hi,
I
Lorna.
always remember I saw it come up, right. So we got to think about this. Now you're talking about a leader there. We're talking about somebody who leads, and not just talking about him as well. We're talking about anybody who leads. You got to lead from in front, not from in front. You got to lead with the people. Sorry, let me get that right. Right, but you got to set the examples. So. Yes, it's got to be a positive one. It's got to be optimistic. And it's the individuals who are either going to bite that and say, yeah, we could do something with this, or there's going to be some who's going to say, no, hang on, wait, no, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's good. This is positive, but let's see, like you said, it's springtime. It's coming to springtime.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming on. Those on Instagram who are coming on, and those on Facebook and YouTube as well. I'm with Coach Chris Brown, and we're on the Lockdown Series 7, which we are saying should be the last Lockdown Series at the time. And even so, when I was doing the flyer, I was saying we need to get some brightness into it, because people need to know that we're moving on. We're getting out of the lockdown. Those, if you want to see the show fully and seeing the lovely face of Coach Chris Brown, you can go onto YouTube or Facebook, Silburn TV, which we're on there now. We spoke, ladies and gentlemen, earlier about what are some of the things that you will take with you if you're traveling. And I'd said it earlier that considering weight, when you are actually traveling, you decide very forcefully at a certain point, even at the airport or so, I can't take that, I can't take that, I can't take that. And you just make some radical decision. Weights, Chris, Coach, weights are something that people will need to drop off. Certain things that they'll have to leave in this zone, isn't it? That's going to be, it's like you know, yeah, go into that. I can't go any further. Yeah, weights.
It's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be a must.
Yes.
Right? Why would you carry if you had a suitcase that was overweight, which one you're gonna have to pay more for, or if it's the whole plane is overweight already, you can't take it with you. So you have to, like you said, discard it. And when you discard it, do you turn around and think, oh, I can't take, you're thinking about where you're going. You're thinking about where you're going and you want to get there before those gates close.
Yes.
Now, think about it before those gates close, before that flight goes. Now, mentally, you cannot afford to keep that weight from the things of before. You're going to have to let go of some things. You're going to have to let go and just say, right, I'm going to be in the, because if I carry this weight now, I won't get on that flight, right?
Yes.
So if I carry this weight now, right, I'm going to accumulate more things and I will not be able to move. Now, my present would be weighed down. And let's forget about the future because you're not going anywhere then, are you? Because you're busy carrying that weight. So you're going to have to discard some things. You're going to have to think about it. And, you know, sadly to say, let's get very real. We could be talking about certain things of the past.
Yes.
You know, certain things before you went lockdown, certain ways of doing, let's talk about the aspect of work. The ways of doing things will change. Are you going to go there and say, no, I want to do it all way and that's it? Listen, you could do that, but trust me, somebody else is going to come along and do it the new way.
Yes.
And then what you're going to do, though, you'll be out of it at the end of the day. So you've got to readjust, have an open mind to readjust to certain things. All right. So let's talk about sometimes even people, you talk about weights as well. You know, you got to separate the negative from the positive. You might have found in that time that you found how to apply yourself to new skills, as I always mention, and new ways. Now you've got to apply yourself to move forward in the present to the future. So you cannot afford to carry that overweight suitcase in your head.
Yes, yes. That's powerful. Yeah. And Michelle Clark, welcome to the show as well. Peace and blessings to you. We thank you for coming from the States. Yeah. Okay, so we talk about the weights, we talk about the restructuring, realignment, and what's the other key factor when we are moving getting out of lockdown, getting free.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was thinking about as well, when the Prime Minister says we're going to start to release ease the lockdown, is it that people somewhat may sense that they are in some sort of prison? It's like the gate has been flown now. Is it right? Is it that there's I don't know, but I sense at times that people feel like they are trapped. People have been feeling trapped. People have been feeling like they're in some sort of prison. You have people who talk about when they're in quarantine, they feel like they are trapped in this hotel or in this zone. So there's a trapped atmosphere. And the Prime Minister gave the word and people are now saying, well, I'm so glad for Prime Minister Boris Johnson has given me the key now. Now I'm looking to be free. I don't know if there's anything in that, Coach, that can be picked up, because there's something deep that it's like, I don't know, it's like when somebody loses someone all the while. In school, if there's a shoot-up or whatever like that, they always have counselors that goes in and try to speak to the students, speak to the family members. Is there going to be some traumatic thing going on? I don't know.
I personally believe that, yes, there is, because it's a case of, as you just said about moving on the traumas that being let out all of a sudden. Now, there is a need for counseling, coaching for everyday person, and also especially in the, let's say, NHS and medical field, people have seen things that they wouldn't have expected to see. There have been cases where, you know, the whole idea of being shut in your house, you got to think about mental health as well, you know, for people. And I'm not just saying mental health, someone who's already suffering it, it's got higher basically since in that say the cases. So you could see their needs for an outlet of, let's say, therapy, coaching, you know, many different avenues are actually needed at this time. You know, services are needed at this time. There's a feeling of being locked in, because we spoke about this from day one. Do you remember we was talking about the power of words? When you say lock down, automatically in your mind that feels like I'm locked in, I'm locked down. When you say isolation, that feels that way as well. But there's a different sort of thing. You got a bit more choice in the matter, in the word at the end of the day, self-isolation when you say that. So just think about that. Now, for somebody who's actually suffering in a way of the whole idea of lockdown, that adds to it. Yeah. And, you can see why things kind of go the way on some people revolt against it. I don't think they're actually revolting against that. It's the fear factor that people revolt against, the fear factor.
Okay. There's something I want to pick up there, but I just say hi. So let me say it before I lose it. But
okay,
what are some of then, if it's to do with words, and the Prime Minister we're going to be released, and people have been in lockdown, isolation, and I know we have touched on it, but now we're into some specific zone. Now we're into a particular point, a pathway now where we're actually going to ease in the lockdown, getting free. What are some of the words? Now that there's a date, like there's a March the 8th, I know children start to go back. Children have to start getting COVID tests twice a week or something like that. What are some of the words that people need to now start to conjure up in their mind in preparation to go into freedom? do that in prison? Somebody in prison would be good here. Somebody who's like those people when they're getting ready to be free after 20 years incarceration.
Well, think about this. What you're talking about there is mental preparation.
Yes.
Mental preparation for what's about to happen. And you said, what are the words they use? Now, that in itself, as we said, there are power in words. And you've got to be careful about the sort of inner dialogue that you have inside your head about things. Because words are only words when they're attached to, they're only a sentence when they're attached to another word. Yeah. Right? So let's say if we were doing a sort of word test and we just went, you had to say things abstract and it said, all right, lockdown. What do you think of straight away? Bam. And if you said something like the color yellow, what comes to your mind straight away? And obviously I said yellow because it's quite, it's quite positive, right?
Ugly trousers, yellow trousers.
Right. So the thing.
Or yellow trousers. Sorry.
Give me a contract.
Sorry, I break your
Right. Anyway,
people's minds are different, man. People's minds are wired different, like mine.
Right. Yeah. Right. So you took me there. Right. So the thing about it is that look, there's association. So there's association with words. Lockdown has a negative connotation association with it, right? Yes. So there goes the fear factor. Now, so how are we going to deal with that? We're going to have to change our inner dialogue in our head in what we associate words with.
Yes.
Back to the same thing. Habit take 3 weeks to make and 3 weeks to break. Right? So the thing about it, we have to think of other ways of your changing your inner dialogue, what you associate things to.
Yes. But changing inner dialogue. I'm just taking notes, Coach. I'm just taking notes.
Okay. So what we talk about while you're doing that, while we talk about inner dialogue, if you think about yourself as a person and just think, what automatically comes to your head in situations? How can I snap out of that? How can I replace that thought with something more positive instead? All right, so somebody's got a fear of falling or something like that, or heights or whatever. How can I replace that thought that thing is not happening? So you hear an announcement, like you used the word release. Now that just think about it. When you think that, you think of a load of people just getting free and just going forward and running out all of a sudden, right? And for some, it will be that way. It'll be a freedom. There'll be a lot more happier faces. That sort of thing, especially here in UK, it's like the Christmas time, right? Everybody's greeting, right? Springtime comes up, everybody's happy. Yeah. Winter time comes and everybody gets a bit, all at the same time kind of. So you've got to be a little bit different in yourself in how you associate things and what you associate in your mind.
No, that's good. And let me hear what Lorna actually saying. I'm hoping that I can, she's referring to packaging. I'm hoping that I can finalize my packing, but need to know when the borders will be open. So at least I'll have some hopes of going back to Jamaica. So she's formulating her mind, finalizing her packing, thinking about the process at the same time. That is also physical and that's also mental at the same time.
Yeah.
She went further by saying, preparing to get off lockdown by counting down, by marking dates on my calendar. That's a mindset, isn't it? Preparing one's mind, getting in the motion, getting ready.
Yes, preparation, counting down the dates. That's good. That's preparation as well, because you know you're coming nearer to it. But it's also going to rise that little thing inside you as you get closer to the date as well. So it's managing that as well at the same time.
That's powerful. So the trauma, though, at the same time, getting ready to ease lockdown, the reality that we are facing is the Prime Minister always say, that's the plan, subject to COVID. So therefore, people getting ready, and then it could be pulled back again. It happened before, and people feel distorted. Now, thinking about that now, thinking about the person going to probation or going to get parole and keep going back and forth. And I keep thinking about this movie there with Morgan Freeman and the other guy who's the accountant. I forget the show.
Tim.
I don't remember
Shawshank.
the guy.
Redemption.
Exactly. He kept going back and going back to the point that he just lost it. And when it happened, he was like, wow, you know what I mean? But he kept going back each time and keep going back each time. If something like this happens, whereby people are getting ready now and the spike or whatever starts to happen and they pull back, what happens there? Should people really be cautious, or should they be excited? Is there a level of caution that should be in place at the same time?
Do you know, sometimes we don't want to say something just in case something happens. We don't want to build ourselves up too much. Let me use an example. Fine enough, a fine example. When I was saying, Lorna, as you're listening right now, as I said, you start to, when you tick off the dates as you go along, that anxiety starts to rise and get excited by the time, right? But you still got to cope with that in that sense that, what if they did say that? And that's not being negative, because you're doing a good thing, but I'm just using it as an example, right? That what if they did say that? And that's why I said, doesn't mean because somebody says, oh, the gates are open, it's lockdown, that the virus disappears.
Yes.
Does it? Doesn't really, does it? So we still got to be kind of cautious in how we handle ourselves and what we do. And some people are not going to be, and some people are going to think, well, because somebody said it, it's all okay. And those are the dangers, really, you think about it, isn't it? So we all got to be cautious and respectful of each other and in how we actually deal with things still at this time.
No, it's really good. And ladies and gentlemen, in sort of recapping as to where we were, as I'll ask Coach to sort of wrap up, is that the realignment and the restructuring of the mind, the weight, are we going to carry those weights? Are you going to shut off things? Are you going to take them with you? You know, sometimes we like to sneak. Let me just take this with me, really, when you know that it's not good for you. It's like sometimes you're not supposed to eat sugar or cake, and then you just close your eyes and say, let me just take a bite. Chris, does that remind you of you or remind you of me? I don't know which one it is. You know.
Well, we both had a bit of addiction to cake, innit? And we said, thing over the Christmas period and all that. I think I broke my slight Christmas, but I got back on it, kind of, you know. Well, it was a little hard, but you know.
Exactly. So it is that, and then changing of the inner dialogue within one's mindset as well, which is one of the things which you mentioned. And the anticipation, because it is managing one expectation. And that's what the Prime Ministers also do, I believe. Managing the expectation whereby, yes, we're going to lock down, however, subject to COVID.
Yeah, which is a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing, because you don't want to tell everybody, yes, we're going to do this, and all of a sudden, no, we're not going to do this. But it's a thing to have that there just in case, so people will realize. Plus, you've got to think about this. We've got to develop coping mechanisms with what's going on at this present time, and not sort of coping mechanisms which we jump to instead. We got to actually start developing our coping mechanisms for this, because I'm sure a lot of people naturally have. At the end of the day, we're talking about, as I said before, adjusting to, let's say, readjusting, you know, to a different life now in that sense, right? So knowing that as well is beginning of a coping mechanism, because then you're not going to be thinking, I'm going out, I'm going to get on with the same things as before, right? We got to talk about the whole idea of accepting change.
Yes.
Now, you might not want to accept change, and you don't have to. But the truth about it, change is happening at the end of the day, you know. We were like, so we got to find ways of actually readjusting our mind, yeah, to accept this change and use what we got inside of us instead of just going with it in that sense, you know. And then, like I spoke earlier on, we were talking about you've got to know the difference between what you can change and what you can't change. You've got to know the difference. I've mentioned this before in the past, because if you're fighting against something you can't change, that won't change.
Yes.
Right? You're going to bang your head against a brick wall at the end of the day. So you've got to find these inner coping mechanisms in how to work around this thing for your favor at the end of the day, right? I'm not saying change can't happen, but in this situation, I'm talking about in that way, right? So I'm just touching on a few of them that we actually went through. Then, obviously, the other one, which I'm going to say, which I didn't actually mention before, and setting new goals to apply yourself in a new way. Because maybe the way you set the goals before, with the big change and everything that's happened, it might not apply in the same sort of way. You know, finding that new thing inside of you, which you can apply. Like I said, I remember watching the news and I saw this woman, I think she's a teacher before, and then she started doing foraging around, looking for twigs and all that, starting putting them together, put them in frames. And now she started her own business and it's going really well. So she's left what she was going to. So she found what she aligns herself with, which this is a question for everyone at the end of the day. Listen, we've been in lockdown. It hasn't been easy. We're coming out now. But we found a lot of things that we can do within that time. What have you learned? Or what skill have you added to yourself to go back out there now and make a difference? That's a big question at the end of the day. And then the other one I'm going to say is this: your inner dialogue. Be vigilant of your inner dialogue. The messages that you feed to yourself. You know, you got that little critic in your head who keeps telling you this and that and the other. Be aware of it. You know, be aware of it. Listen to that inner dialogue and change what needs to be changed, what you need to associate it with, and who you need to associate it.
I guess what you're saying, don't be afraid of the change, because the change is already here. So you just have to, got to walk in it, isn't it? And prepare.
Yeah, you got to adapt. You got to find ways of adapting. Back to, like I said, always mention prehistoric. You know, certain reptiles survived the ice age and are still around today, right? Certain ones that couldn't readjust didn't survive.
Yes. On Instagram, Rachel Miller said new goals applied in a new way, and that's good. And of course, Coach is going to jump over onto Instagram shortly. We're just going to do the after party on Instagram. So stay right there on Instagram, and we just do a summary over there as we wrap up here now. Coach, any last word as we just wrap up on this very crucial topic as we set the stage and going with the particular flow of the season, even though I don't normally go with the flow, but this is important that we go with this particular flow as keeping in tune with the nation at this time. Yes.
All right. Listen, there's some things that change that will change regardless what, but there are some things that won't change no matter what. Let me tell you one thing that won't ever change. His words the same today, yesterday, as it will be tomorrow, and so shall it be. That shall not change, but it will help you apply yourself in the new change that's happening.
Amen. And that's the word of God. Okay.
That's it.
And as well, my friend from Jamaica, he says Gaza. If you know what Gaza is. So that's Lester. How are you? And Lorna says change can bring fear and uncertainties, but it is how we cope with it as individual is the key. And psychologically, it will be great for the children. A release, it will be great for them to meet their peers, teachers again, and as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for Coach and I for today. And we're going to go for Instagram and do a recap. And I want to thank you so much. Remember to like and share this video. We keep it very tight in order for people to watch it, because when things go on, our people say, we can't watch it, but when they see Chris Brown, they still watch it still at the same time. Coach Chris Brown. So Coach, yes, that's a good show, and we see how we carry on from there. Rachel, so we'll see you over there on Instagram. Coach, all the best. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for that. And just to give you an idea of next week, for the rest of this week, on Thursday, I'll be with Dr. Burton, as we're going to look at the whole impact of where we are now with the vaccine. and also the Prime Minister has also talked about the vaccine passport. I'll be having Dr. Floyd Millen as well, and Keisha will be with us. So I've got Dr. Burton, medical doctor, and Dr. Floyd Millen, who is a political scientist, and we'll be talking about the whole aspect of the new scheme and the way the Prime Minister is going to address the vaccine with Michael Gove, the minister, who is going to look into this, because it's a concern. It is felt that it is going to be a bit divisive, whereby some people are for the vaccine, some people are not for the vaccine. Some people are actually saying, well, it can create opportunities. You're going to have the vaccine pubs, you got a pub which are not vaccine. So therefore, it's just an opportunity. Those who are anti-vax or whatever like that. But there's a conversation, because there are human rights implications and civil liberties, which are talking about if you got to have, you cannot have, if you don't have the vaccine, you can't do this and you can't do that. So there's a serious discussion which they're having. And also to be looking as well at the lockdown, the easing of lockdown, and the whole political climate of that. And of course, look at America. In God, 500,000 now people have passed away. 400,000. People are saying, will Biden own up to the 100,000 or so? But that is a political. We can't keep politicizing these things at this time. And hopefully Sunday night, and I'm trying to finalize this. I'll be speaking with I'm gonna from in Jamaica, Steve Urchin Wilson. Journeyman of the entertainment industry, was worked with Sean Paul over the years, with the Ambassador Sean Paul. So Sunday night we're going to talk about his book as well. So look forward to that. And so I'll be over there with Coach Chris Brown, which is over there now. And we need information on this time to fully cope and comprehend. Yes, Lester, peace out. Interesting topic. See you around. God bless you. Remember to like and share, and remember to have a good night. Stay safe and peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.